Hi and welcome back. We're in 2 Samuel chapter 18. Last night we read about Absalom, and where we left off is David escapes because of Hushai's warning, and basically Absalom has risen up and gone against his father, and so we're going to continue reading that in chapter 18. Please join me in prayer before we start. I just came from church, so let me get my thoughts together real quick, because it was a really good service. I wish friends or family were with me. My son stayed home, so it was just me, and I guess I really needed that message because it left me encouraged to keep moving forward, to keep my eyes on him. But they also ministered about Joshua and how the Lord encouraged him to stay true to the word that was given to him by Moses in the teachings and the law, and that he could not go wrong that way, that God would bless him, use him. And in fact, Joshua was used to distribute the land to the Israelites when they crossed the Jordan. It was just a really good message, and it reminds me that it's not always going to be easy, but if we keep our eyes on God, there's no way we can go wrong. We just have to keep our eyes on him, be in the word, worship him, give him our praises, give him our concerns, and he will lead us the right way. And he wants to use us not just for sharing his witnessing or communing with others, like worshiping with others, but also for ourselves. It's a personal blessing, and then it's a blessing to the kingdom. Also, you're doing the Lord's work. It's for others. Imagine where they would be if you didn't share a word with them and your beliefs. It's not always going to be easy. So he says, don't look to the right, don't look to the left. Keep your eyes on him. And with that, I'm just going to say a quick prayer, giving thanks, saying, Lord, please join me. Lord, thank you for bringing us here today, giving us this moment to come to you and worship, to dive into your word, to draw a little closer to you. I give you thanks. I give you thanks for our life, a brand new day, for the opportunities, for encouraging us when we really tire, when we get discouraged, when we feel like giving up. I'm thankful for you, that you are there in those times. I ask that you fill the heart of the listener, fill it up. May they feel loved, may they feel encouraged. If there's anything troubling them, may they right now give it to you, Lord. I believe in faith that all is possible and that you are able. I pray for those still suffering overseas, and us that are concerned here for them, that are lifting up prayers. May you hear our prayers, as I know you do. May you move where you need to be, and where your hand must be. May we accept that your will is perfect. It is in Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right. Absalom's defeat and death. Chapter 18. And David numbered the people who were with him, and set captains of thousands and captains of hundreds over them. Then David sent out 1/3 of the people under the hand of Joab, 1/3 under the hand of Abishai, the sons of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and 1/3 under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said to the people, I also will surely go out with you myself. I want to be different today and take advantage of how pretty it is and read outside, but I'm not liking what's happening here. So excuse me. So okay. Back to the word. Where am I starting? I'll just start again at 2. Then David sent out 1/3 of the people under the hand of Joab, 1/3 under the hand of Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, Joab's brother, and 1/3 under the hand of Ittai the Gittite. And the king said to the people, I also will surely go out with you myself. But the people answered, You shall not go. You shall not go out, for if we flee away, they will not care about us, nor if half of us die, will they care about us? But you are worth 10,000 of us now, for you are now more help to us in the city. Then the king said to them, Whatever seems best to you, I will do. So the king stood beside the gate, and all the people went out by hundreds and by thousands. Now the king had commanded Joab, Abishai, and Ittai, saying, Deal gently for my sake with the young man. Absalom. And all the people heard when the king gave all the captains orders concerning Absalom. Remember, that's David's son. So he is going to be merciful. Verse 6. So the people went out into the field of battle against Israel, and the battle was in the woods of Ephraim. The people of Israel were overthrown there before the servants of David, and a great slaughter of 20,000 took place that day. For the battle there was scattered over the face of the whole countryside, and the woods devoured more people that day than the sword devoured. It just reminds me of all the bloodshed going on today. This is again in Israel, the Promised Land, and their losses are at 20,000, I'm sorry. It says 20,000 took place there that day. So yes, let me continue. Verse 9. Then Absalom met the servants of David. Absalom rode on a mule. The mule went under the thick boughs of a great terebinth tree, and his head caught in the terebinth. So he was left hanging between heaven and earth, and the mule which was under him went on. Now a certain man saw it and told Job and said, I just saw Absalom hanging in a terebinth tree. So Job said to the man who told him, you just saw him? And why did you not strike him there to the ground? I would have given you 10 shekels of silver and a belt. But the man said to Job, though I were to receive 1,000 shekels of silver in my hand, I will not raise my hand against the king's son. For in our hearing the king commanded you and Abishai the Hittite, saying, beware lest anyone touch the young man Absalom. Otherwise I would have dealt falsely against my own life. For there is nothing hidden from the king, and you yourself would have set yourself against me. Then Job said, I cannot linger with you. And he took 3 spears in his hand and thrust them through Absalom's heart, which he was still alive in the midst of the terebinth tree. And the 10 young men who bore Job's armor surrounded Absalom and struck and killed him. So Job blew the trumpet, and the people returned from pursuing Israel, for Job had held back the people. And they took Absalom and cast him into a large pit in the woods, and laid a very large heap of stones over him. Then all Israel fled, everyone to his tent. Now Absalom in his lifetime had taken and set up a pillar for himself, which is in the king's valley, for he said, I have no son to keep my name in remembrance. He called the pillar after his own, and to this day it is called Absalom's monument. We're going to read on, and right here it tells us David hears of Absalom's death, his son, and he wanted to show him mercy. So let's see what he says and how harshly they dealt with him. Verse 19. Then Ahimaaz the son of Zadok said, let me run now and take the news to the king, how the Lord has avenged him of his enemies. And Job said to him, you shall not take the news this day, for you shall take the news another day. But today you shall take no news, because the king's son is dead. Then Job said to the Cushite, go tell the king what you have seen. So the Cushite bowed himself to Job and ran. And Ahimaaz the son of Zadok said again to Job, but whatever happens, please let me also run after the Cushite. So Job said, why will you run, my son, since you have no news ready? But whatever happens, he said, let me run. So he said to him, run. Then Ahimaaz ran by way of the plain and outran the Cushite. Now David was sitting between the 2 gates, and the watchman went up to the roof over the gate to the wall, lifted his eyes and looked, and there was a man running alone. Then the watchman cried out and told the king, and the king said, if he is alone, there is news in his mouth. And he came rapidly and drew near. That's Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok, that ran so fast that he passed Job, who had gone, I'm so sorry, not Job. He outran the Cushite. So he goes first, and that's who they see. The watchman sees approaching the palace, running towards the palace, and David knows he has news. And so it says, and the king said, if he is alone, there is news in his mouth. And he came rapidly and drew near. Then the watchman saw another man running, and the watchman called to the gatekeeper and said, there is another man running alone. And the king said, he also brings news. So the watchman said, I think the running of the first is like the running of Ahimaaz, the son of Zadok, or Zadok. And the king said, he is a good man and comes with good news. So Ahimaaz called out and said to the king, all is well. Then he bowed down with his face to the earth before the king and said, blessed be the Lord your God, who has delivered up the men who raised their hand against my lord the king. The king said, is the young man Absalom safe? Oh, that breaks my heart. I'm going to tell you why after we finish this chapter 18. And I think I want to stop there today, just because it is a powerful message, and with everything that's going on in the war itself, I want to give it its respect and not rushing through this. I know I read a lot last night, but yeah, so just, if you will, bear with me. Let me finish this one for us. And the king said, he is a good man and comes with good news. So Ahimaaz called out and said to the king, all is well. Then he bowed down with the face to the earth before the king and said, blessed be the Lord your God, who has delivered up the men who raised their hand against my lord the king. The king said, is the young man Absalom safe? Ahimaaz answered, when Joab sent the king's servant and me your servant, I saw a great tumult, but I did not know what it was about. And the king said, turn aside and stand here. So he turned aside and stood still. Just then the Cushite came, and the Cushite said, there is good news, my lord the king, for the Lord has avenged you this day of all those who rose against you. And the king said to the Cushite, is the young man Absalom safe? So the Cushite answered, may the enemies of my lord the king and all who rise against you to do harm be like your man. Be like that young man. He doesn't even say your son. He says, be like that young man. Let me see what 20 is. I have read this in other times, but it's always good to go back. It's a refresher. And it's always still important, and it brings to the forefront of my mind just how fragile like our life is, or how fragile our salvation is, and how human we are, how carnal we are. He thinks he's reporting good news, and he that was chapter 18, by the way. Blessed be the word of the Lord. But if you have children, you know that he didn't take that news as joyful news and excited. No, the man was mistaken for that, the second messenger. So we'll read on when we go into 19, and 19 is a pretty long one. It goes over David's mourning, and then the time right after that. And yeah, I hope you join me. I was just thinking also, a lot of my obstacles had to do with my son, and we both have a mental illness, and I bring him up not to take from the message, but to share that as parents, sometimes our kids can become rebellious, can hurt us, our feelings. They can lie, cheat, steal from us, and it's always disappointing. And I'm sharing that because mine has done a lot of these things. And out of guilt, I didn't set up a lot of boundaries like I thought it was best to, in a way, set up like a safety net for him, and that I was always there. No matter what trouble he got in, he could come to me. But there comes a point when you have to call it what it is, and say, my son is doing wrong, and I can't help him out of this situation. And I blame myself, and I attribute it to how I raised him, not always being there because I was in the military. And today's encouraging message at church was what I needed to fill me up, because he gets really bad. But no matter how bad our kids get, we don't wish harm on them. I wouldn't be glad if somebody said, they arrested him and he's in jail, just because of all the times that he's disappointed me. Time and time again, I've wept over him being in dangerous situations. Like, he goes out to the park in the middle of the night, and I can't go after him all the time. He's taken things from the house. He's upset family. He's got a big heart, but he's in a bad place right now. And it could get discouraging where I don't want to help him at all. I don't want to be around him. it takes away from my peace. It changes the whole mood of the house. But I would never be glad at him being thrown in jail, of him falling sick, or think to myself, oh, at least he's not here anymore and I don't have to deal with him. Maybe some parents can do that because they're strict or they have boundaries, but I still believe that as parents, we love our kids and want the best for them. So wherever you are, if you're a parent, don't be discouraged. And if you ever feel the need to dive into the Word, that's a perfect one. David still loved his son, and even though his son raised an army against him to try to take him out, he didn't want that. He wanted mercy shown him. And I pray that my son, no matter what happens to him, whenever he has to answer for things that he's done, that he's shown mercy also. And that's because I love him. And wherever you are, I pray that you take care of yourself. And as always, God bless you. Take care. Bye.